I went outside with everybody else to play as soon as I could and for the entire day. As much as I enjoyed playing house in school, drawing outfits for paper dolls, and cooking, both pretend and real, those were pretty passive endeavors. I liked what my brothers got to do. Hit, throw, swing, climb, bang, and chomp. When you're almost 4 years younger than your next sister and 11 years younger than the oldest girl, you hear a lot of no's, not nows, and the most hurtful get out of here's. I wanted to climb trees and fences and jump off the roof of the coal shed into a pile of leaves with the boys. I was determined to throw a baseball, not like a girl. I spent hours practicing my boxing, bob and weave. Randall said I had good form when I tucked my chin and held my fists high to protect my face for when I got into a fight. Randall and Honey were always building things. I'd watch as they lean in toward each other, their heads almost touching. They talked sparingly but intently as they worked together, lifting, sawing, positioning, holding, and hammering. I may have been a little jealous. I was definitely curious. When Randall would leave, I'd ask Honey to let me nail or saw something, and he would show me what Randall had just taught him. After a few instructions, I was able to make the perimeter walls of my playhouse more structurally sound with the addition of a few rusty nails I found lying around. In summer, the boys built skateboards out of 2x4s and the wheels from metal roller skates. They labored over race cars made from wooden milk crates, outfitted with baby buggy wheels mounted on a piece of wood that pivoted on a single nail when tugged by a rope tied to each end. And every fall, what was usually considered work became play. As the season started to change, trucks would appear in the streets of Mill Creek, piled high with firewood and mounds of black, dusty coal for sale. Most people bought their wood and coal from the trucks each week, but not us. We never knew where Daddy got anything, but one day in late September we'd come home from school and there would be a sprawling pile of freshly cross-cut logs in our yard. My brothers and their friends made games and competitions of splitting the large circumferences of tree trunks into pieces small enough to fit in the stove that heated our house. Randall had been chopping wood the longest, so of course he was in charge. He fell into his familiar role, barking orders and making rules. First thing was to find a piece of wood that would serve as a chopping block, a large section that would be the surface on which to place logs for splitting. The chopping block had to be the right height off the ground, which was a few inches below Randall's knees, making it easier to swing and land the axe without bending too low and hurting your back. To get started, he used a sledgehammer to pound the axe head as a wedge into the large sections of green wood. He knew how to read the grains in the wood and how to avoid the knots to control the size of the pieces of wood chopped. Splitting wood was dangerous play for these boys. A glancing blow of the axe could send wood ricocheting in unpredictable directions. I think that was one of the competitions. Who could send a piece of wood flying off the farthest? On the outside watching, I wanted to learn how to swing that axe, even though it was almost as long as I was tall. As usual, the key for me for entering the realm of boydom was to wait for Randall to leave and ask for Honey's help. We started with a hatchet and small pieces of wood that had already been split. Standing the wood upright, I learned to find the spot where I wanted to chop, rest the hatchet on that spot, set my feet apart directly in front, aim, and swing. After a few misses and near misses, I tried to do with the hatchet what the older boys did with the axe. I held the hatchet with my left hand at the end of the handle and my other hand below the head of the hatchet. I lifted the iron blade straight up over my head, sliding my right hand down until both hands met at the end of the handle. With outstretched arms and unblinking eyes, I lowered the heavy wedge and hit my spot. By the end of the day, I was chopping kindling for starting fires. Years later, when I was about a foot taller than that beckoning axe, I learned to choke up on the smooth curve of the handle the same way I did a baseball bat. I'd flex my knees, shift my weight slightly while raising that most of basic tools up, over my head, and down in one sweeping motion to split logs like a boy.